You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box. Yours truly, Kate of Gaia, broadcasting from an undisclosed location somewhere on planet Earth. There we go. Happy St. Patrick's Day for all you pharaohs out there, either of the island or of the mind, the spiritual mind. Yes, I was catching up a little bit on... I've been doing a lot of backtracking and research to, well, obviously with Robert Morningsky. I'm looking at Mike Tessarian's work as well, and it's listening a whole lot differently these days, and dots are connecting all over the place. But there's a few things I wanted to go through. It's interesting that, of course we have St. Patrick's Saint, meaning without in French. Patrix, or the hexed row, tricks. So, yeah, it's just a coincidence, right? And, of course, today was a celebration of his death, as a matter of fact, which was in 461 AD, which, of course, totals 11, which is the death of Duality. Cool, huh? Anyway, yeah, just to let you know how I define my reality, and I look for things in terms of what is happening now, because there is only now, and all the timelines coincide here. I want to touch on probably the most important concept that may hopefully drive this stake home and get it right through the heart of you, as far as what it means to be in or out of the system. And it is this simple. I could make it difficult, depending on the level of attachments and agreements you may or may not have with the dead crone system of this world of Babylon, will determine how much you are attracting the energies into your realm. As many of you are aware, I got the opportunity to shut it down once and for all on Friday night. And you can hear it live on the air. The recording's there from Blog Talk Radio. You can get it at criticalmassradio.co.uk. And just download the episode, and it unfolded live on the air. For anyone that has any questions as far as should you or should you not play with vampires. And I'm going to speak allegorically. This is a completely neutral observation. I don't want people thinking good guy, bad guy, because that's just a polarized position. What you can look at least what I look at, is the contrast of what I would do and what I would not do. And that's your truth. That's what's true with you. That's when you take upon yourself your own self-given rights. Right? R-I-T-E. And not to be confused with the man-made nonsense that you hear people screaming about, I know my rights. No, you don't. You haven't got a clue as to how to cast a spell. Because you don't understand phonics, you're still trapped in a system. And a simple little thing to keep in mind, these are very simple things. If there is anything that resembles a system of any kind whatsoever in the physical universe, be it a power system, electricity, be it a money system, be it anything that resembles what is already in existence, is spiritual debt. And it's like jumping out of the frying pan into the fire, and out of the fire into another pot, and out of the pot onto another boiler pan, and so on and so on. I'm not sure if all of you out there are fire walkers. I know that I'm not. Once burned, go back. And, these are revelations that are unfolding in rapid fashion. And what occurred on Friday night, again, this is in retrospect. I was there. I had you can hear it. I have the visual to go along with it. And, of course, the energies that were interplaying with me at that point. And it is really that simple. And it's a standard rule, if you look at your folklore, a standard rule with vampires. A vampire cannot come into your home unless it is invited. Now, the vampire I speak of comes in many heads of the Hydra. It can be it will be in the form of things like licenses, bank statements, addresses, names, library cards, anything to do with the system at all. Those are all spiritual contracts that you are bound to spiritually until you break them. That is a fact. Now, the hard part that I know people will have is separating themselves, because this is the problem with Pisces. Pisces is all about believing, and until you actually start walking this, and really, I mean walking this, you're not going to believe it. And even when it's working constantly, you still have a little trouble, you know? You do. And these are the leaps of faith are great, but it's taken that next step that is the real power that's going to cement it for you. That's the creation mind, ment, you know, or the spirit creation of the magnetic electric ent, or the infinite law of truth, right? So it takes a little practice, you know. I assure you. What I'm talking about here is the highest form of garlic, spiritual garlic you will ever have. Because the more you disarm yourself physically, you know, doing paperwork shit and all the rest, but just get the information out. I've been saying that for a while. Just get the information to others. It's about educating our fellow humanity that has been just as duped as we have been. We just happen to get a little pissed off a little sooner and start becoming a little sooner. That's the only difference. There are no caste systems here. There is no greater or lesser than here. There is just different levels of awareness, of contrast, and that's all it is. All in this universe are the same, all equal, all the one, just different variations of the one. That's all it is. And the more separate you make yourself from anyone else, is literally a separation from the allness. And don't expect a whole lot if you're going to keep doing that. You know, it does. It's a little bit of practice to get used to it. And that's why for a long time there I was saying, if you're unsure of things, then, well, start getting used to the idea of not having it, because you need ID. You know, if somebody can't see you when they're talking to you, there are institutions for people like that, right? What the hell does somebody need a piece of paper to say who they are for? What the hell does somebody need a photograph to prove it's them? So you have to look a little deeper to see maybe there's something a little more sinister going on here, given the fact that everyone has been so programmed into a dead meat programmed mentality, where you look at something like Hogwarts, you know, Harry Potter, and think that that's just all fairy tales. No, that's truth. That's what you're all capable of, and infinitely more. And it's being displayed for you on the Psi Elver screen, the silver screen, the screen of truth. Psi, spirit of intent through truth, Psi Elver. And it's like this. Imagine you deciding to have a party, and you just put a sign out front. This is basically your ID is saying, okay? And you're the one that gets to accommodate that party, right? You're putting a sign out front, party, free booze, free this, free that, all welcome. And before you know it, you've got, 200 people inside a house that could maybe hold 50, okay? And then you're looking around and you're wondering why your lamp's all smashed, your toilet bowl's broken, windows are smashed out, furniture's all burned and ripped and stripped, and just pure chaos after everyone leaves. And then, of course, what are you going to get? Well, you're going to get mad, but who should you get mad at? I mean, you put the sign out. You said, come on, everybody, free this, free that, come on in. I just want to have a good time and party. And holy shit, you wrecked my place. Well, that's what the system is. Identification is that sign on your front lawn saying, come on in, rape me, do me. I'm a slave, come on, just do whatever you want. And this plays out in all forms of legal. I've covered enough of this stuff over the years in great detail. As far as accommodating party, UCC codes, and all the rest of it, I've been through it all. And for me, they were all simply allegorical mirrors of man-made law mimicking divine law, which, when you agree to it, it contains some of that power, if not all of it. So you might want to change your sign out front. Those wishing to come into my jurisdiction, please knock. And then you open a little peephole, and someone you don't want there that you know has already wrecked your place once, you go, no, I remember you, bye. And that is essentially what you're doing. And when you take off the paper mache, you put on spiritual truth armor, and it is impenetrable. Nothing gets through it. And that's a tough one for people to really sink their teeth into. And I had the most contrasted perspective of that on Friday night. You know, no ID, no VINs, nothing, expired plates. All I'm saying with that is, one, I don't want to arouse the what's going on with the general public, which interferes with, the dogs chasing their victims game. It's not my concern. I stay the course. People have to wake up on their own. They have to do their own due diligence, and they're going to have to get to the same point we all did about getting pissed off enough to say, I've had enough of this, right? What else? Potentially a fairly high-profile individual in what we would deem to be a truth movement. Yeah, I'd say I've got a little notoriety on that. Track record of a lot of things dealing with the system. Judge with the Sovereign video comes to mind. A bunch of other stuff too. And the amount of time and work that I put into at the very beginning, helping people out with things, thinking, and we were peeling layers off the system is what we were doing. So there was not one mistake made. It was all perfect. Everything is perfect. And I learned. It took me a while, but I learned to accept that. And I thought, this is going to be like watching a movie backwards. I already know the happy ending. If you start a movie at the end and see the riding off into the sunset, it's all perfect with the lead character. You can go right back to the beginning of that movie, and it doesn't matter what goes on through the movie because you know what the ending is, and that's where I am, and that's where we all need to be because that's exactly what it is, and it's really cool. And this is getting exposed. The cosmic joke is getting exposed hardcore in the phonics and the literals. A lot of things I want to share tonight. Like I said, I was watching a bit of Michael Tazarian, basically the Irish origins of civilization, and where Ireland is part of the former Lemuria, and which known that for a long time as far as the Atlantic aspect. And you've heard me reference Ireland as being the heart of Earth. It's got the four chambers, and the one chamber, the divine feminine positive Ulster, that's the intent upon intent of the divine feminine, has had a lot of stuff going on with regards to you know all about the quote troubles unquote in Ireland, basically starting very long time ago, but let's just say it really got heavy in the late 60s and 70s, where it was made out to be Protestants versus Catholics, which it wasn't. It was just simply, the papal and the crown playing their normal game. Most people, especially in Ireland, don't realize that it was a pope that funded King William III, Prince of Orange, at the Battle of the Boyne, fighting King James, the Catholic king. The Pope was funding the other guy. Okay, so again, it's not about spirituality with these people. It's all about control, domination, and hierarchy. And that's a very degraded level of being, a very degraded level of soul, if you even call it soul. But the bottom line is very simply this. Everything that you have attached to the system is a thread that a vampire can come and bite your neck and drain you. these are all spiritual contracts that we are dealing with here. You know, it's not a piece of paper, okay, guys? Not one piece of paper was looked at on Friday night, because I don't need paper. I know who I am. And I know the power of the fox. I know that when you neutralize a word, what you're getting now is pure magnetic source intent of what you mean it to mean, not what some other definition has degraded a word into its polarized positive or negative. And this is why I tell you, just take a word and break it up phonetically to see how you can reverse it. Simple one, as I've said many times, a simple one is refuse. Well, refuse means I don't want that. It also means to put another circuit into an electrical panel to refuse it. Okay, so one of it's saying I don't want anything to do with it, and the other one's saying I want everything to do with it. It's connecting it. Okay, that's why it's a catch-22. This is the world of catch-22, or the Kati key, which is the spirit of the law of truth key. Is 22, and that's where the quad comes in. It's a double cross, and you have to see both sides of this coin stand on the rim. And most people are playing with the tail or playing with the head. So to the degree that you have a connection to the system is an open invitation to a vampire of whatever level you're at to come and feed on you spiritually. And I've experienced that on the spiritual level. This going back 3 years ago or more. Over 3 years ago. And it's a very real thing. This is not hocus pocus, because it is hocus pocus. This whole reality, everyone's walking around thinking it's Kansas, but I know it's Oz. Right? Once you get past the Emerald City and you get enough truth, you start seeing Oz and its glitter and Tinkerbell and all the rest of it. And the more you see of the real reality, the more insane this place gets. Like, I don't know about you, but even the notion of building something like a nuclear bomb to wipe out hundreds of thousands of people is nothing less than pure insanity. Psychopathy of the lowest order. So stop and think about that. So, you know, when people are playing in the system, working for munitions factories and what have you, and anything that involves killing another or destroying another, well, that's a very depraved level. And don't tell me it's because, well, I need to feed my family. Well, then you don't have the faith in you. And that's okay, don't worry, because you'll go through Groundhog Day up to the point where you'll hear this, and it'll be another deja vu moment from Kate saying, oh yeah, she told me I shouldn't be doing that. And you'll come back, and you'll be at this point again. And chances are some of you are hearing this for the second or third time, or even more right now. Some of you might be experiencing a deja vu moment, having already been through that timeline and come back. Because everything merges in the now. There is only now. And the one that you are aware of is the now. This is now. This is where all consciousness merges. You are an immortal being that has been duped out of it by thinking you're not. And I'm here to kind of correct that. Well, I've corrected it for me, and hopefully I can share enough information, enough clues that you'll see it for yourself. Because, you see, here's the thing. All I can offer is a fishing rod. I do not offer any fish. That would be a trespass on your free will experience to make it yours. You see, that's the difference. If you earn it, you learn it. And if it's just given to you, then that's a taken for granted. And while that might sound a little harsh, it's pure truth. Anything worth having is worth working for, where you have that self-contained notion that I did this, I found this, and you're finding the same things that we all are. That's the joy of this, because now what we can do at the table is turn around and confirm all of these things that we have been finding. And that's why this table resonates so highly, because there are people that are out there, you guys that are at this table every night are out there, and you're seeing this and you're experiencing this. You're getting your DNA building aha moments. And that bridge is getting longer and longer, and you're going further and further across the abyss, across the chasm of illusion, where it does start to get rather funny. It actually gets quite hilarious. But I will tell you, going back to the Friday night, if there is anyone that's still playing in the legal nonsense crap, has any doubt, they need to listen to that. And I think I've been on the air long enough and shared enough about my experience that you will understand how profound Friday was in the grand scheme of consciousness. That was a complete shutdown. That was a major layer peeled off, because for the first time I was able to stay in my space, know exactly who I am. I don't take orders from anybody, and I'm certainly not going to give any. I wish no harm to anyone. And I know that I don't need a piece of paper, and I know I don't need to get into conflicts. That's an ego game. Don't play that one. I'm not interested and I'm bored. I'm here to play. As in the book of A-E-I-O-U, or E-I-O-U, whatever it is. The name of God is Je. And you're going to think your way out of this. It's the only way you're going to get out of this. This is not an art game. This is a game of Wu Wei, the art of doing without doing. That's when you start being. And I know it runs so deep. This program runs so deep that you're going, oh, it sounds too good to be true. It sounds, yeah, that's the program telling you that you think it's too good to be true, but it is. And I'm just here to keep reminding you, I'm going to be that nagging bitch in the back of your mind. I'm that one thought that just won't let go of you. It's just saying, come on, wake up, William, wake up. Wake up, oil I am. Wake up. You are the OI with intent. The all-creation I. You are the all-saying I. You just got a little dust in it, is all. So remember, vampire rules apply. Or apple eye. Well, you're the apple of your father's eye. Yes, indeed. Yeah. If you invite a vampire in, expect to get bitten. A few interesting words that I didn't get a chance to take many notes on Mike Tessarian. I was just flying with what he was talking about, decoding it in my head on the fly. I grabbed a couple of things out that I thought were mildly interesting, given he was talking in the first video, he was talking about the caste system. And of course, all the world's a stage, so of course it's a caste system. They put an E on the end of it to make it look different than Hollywood, but it's still the same sound. And you've probably heard of a vicar, right? Go down to see the local vicar. Well, that's the Vic RE. Now, RE is... I hate using the word God because that's a hexed creation mirror. Let's talk about all-knowing. Let's talk about the AK, right? Here's your AK-47, your AK duality, okay? You got the RE is basically the all-knowing, or one on the way to all-knowing. Ancient Christian Gnostics, the ones that came out of Egypt, that's one of the key words they used, and of course it makes total sense with things like a musical aria. It also fits in with ERA, which is the main name for Ireland, E-I-R-E. And so you have vicary, hickory, dock, indeed, right? But when you start busting it up into the two words, well, you have vice, which we all know what a vice is for. It's either a bad habit or something you crush someone's hand in, or hold something to file or whatever. RE. So it is the vice of that all-knowingness. And of course it comes, vicary comes from vicarious. So if you're living vicariously through someone else, you're a stand-in, you're an imitator. That's why the Pope is considered the vicar of Christ. He's standing in, and he's an imposter. Okay, anyone standing in between you and you is an imposter. That's an external idol, an external vampire. You're giving that vampire all the energy it needs to feed on you, and that's what's been happening to humanity for thousands upon thousands of years. I think we've had enough. Another one is, like, look at the word viceroy. Well, roi is you're talking king, right? Or queen. Look at the word king. It's got the hex at the end of it. And what is kin? Well, that's family, or it's also knowledge. And D is the hex. So when you are the king, in the literal sense, you are knowledge hexed. And you're caught up in the whole wealth and the materialism and the physicality of this realm. And you'll go in circles in Groundhog Day until you graduate out of that and move up to the next. So there's just a couple of little words there to play with. Another one that I was looking at the other day, I forget who posted it, but I just follow my now, and when something I see that pops up resonates with me as something I've looked at before, I always check it out. Being a diver, I was always fascinated with shipwrecks and diving and treasure hunting, all the rest of the fun stuff that goes along with that. And one of the things that came up in all the stuff that I was researching and reading was Oak Island, just off the coast of Nova Scotia. And for some, you may know what Oak Island is. What Oak Island, there's a bit of a legend there, and it's a lot bigger than people think, because I know the key is there. It's an island, I think it's a mile long, or a mile and a half long by mile wide, I think it is, something like that. It's not very big. And legend had it that pirate, I might have even been Blackbeard, supposedly buried a treasure there. That was the rumor. But a bunch of kids in 1789, which adds up to 22, found this depression in the ground on the island, and they decided to come back. I think might have been 7 years later, and there's the 7 again, 22/7. There's your pi ratio. So I'm always looking at things. I'm going to get back to pi and phi in a minute. And of course, they dug down to 90 feet before it actually started to fill with water. Yeah, these are not coincidences. But anyway, Oak Island, as it turns out, the kids that found it originally dug down. They got down 10 feet, found a bunch of oak logs, got down another 10 feet, found another floor of oak logs, another 10 feet. So they're down 30 feet at this point. Of course, there's where they stopped, at 30 feet. Lots of allegories in that. Won't even get into that. But they gave up, and then over time, other people came in to try to dig out this treasure. And it's a full consciousness story as I was watching it. And, of course, oak, you have the acorn. Oak is always known as the, wisdom kind of tree and whatever. A couple of legends that happened around Oak Island was, it was said that the treasure wouldn't be found until 7 people had died, and all of the oaks on the island had disappeared. And up to date, 6 have died, and there is only 1 oak tree remaining on the island. Now, when the guys went back to it later, they dug down and they came across, all the allegories are in here. They came across coconut, what do they call that? Like the coconut threads or husks. I think it was at the 40 or 50 foot level. I have to go back. But anyway, irrelevant, because what is coconut? Well, coconut is one of the few things on this earth that you can live on, and just live on coconut. So it is an allegory of immortality, because it's the only thing you need to live. And of course, the other allegory involved in that was the what do you call it? They used this for pack treasures in, right? Pirates were known to pack treasure in this coconut husk. And of course, the nearest coconut grove was over 1,500 miles away. So the likelihood of coconut husks being found at 40, 50 feet down in Nova Scotia, just off the coast of Nova Scotia, pretty slim. So that fired them up. And they went down a bit further, and then they found this like a Rosetta Stone. It was had markings on it. I'm going to have a closer look at it tomorrow because I had a look at it today, and it decodes perfectly. They've got two ways of it. Of course, the answer to the universe is 42, if anyone's seen The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And, of course, it's at 40. When you look at this video, the first thing I saw when it came out was 42, right? So I'm thinking, oh, okay, cool, the answer to the universe. So it's 40 feet, I guess would be at the hex level, 60 feet, 40 or 50 feet rather, divine feminine, even better. So at 40 feet, 2 million pounds were buried there. That's what one guy decoded it to mean. And it's also interesting that the rock that was found is only and rare. It's not very common in a stone. It's native to Egypt and only Egypt. And they found that 50 feet down off the coast of Nova Scotia. Yeah, a few mysteries happening here, right? So, and I got a couple other jokes along this one too. Long story short, they got down to the 90-foot level, where they found the pineal gland. It was actually a plank floor, and they poked a hole through it, 3 feet below that, 1 yard, right? And to find something else it was hidden, so they figured they found the treasure. But what they had done was the same thing that Moses did to the pineal. So this is a fractal of this allegory. Again, this listening with your eyes. And what they had done was they had cracked the pineal because it was too dark for them to continue working. Look, they got deep, they got dark, and they got quiet. So they decided to quit and go to the surface for the night. And when they came back the next day, the whole thing had filled up with water. So it was now 90, or I don't think it was 90 feet at that point. But this mind shaft, right? The mind, shaft had filled with truth. The pineal was broken open. The planks at the bottom were broken open. And the easy answer to this is, I don't know why they're still going down when they should be going lateral. And that is, at 90 feet, well, there's your consciousness. And these are the allegories I see in it. Now, when you look at the shape of the island, the two things that immediately stood out for me was, one, it looks like a peanut, and they even mentioned that, but it also looks like an elephant, an elephant, right? And I watched Dumbo last week, and of course, elephants and peanuts, they go together, right? And you can't make this up. And where was I going there? They had, I forgot where I was going. That's what happened. I went off on a little fractal there. But here's the thing. They got down to 90 feet. They got to the pineal. They hit consciousness. And that consciousness, when they got out of the deep dark, filled with truth, right? And here we are today. I have to do a little looking around to see what's going on with it. But what I'm doing is I'm backtracking, looking at old things and seeing how they're magically all connecting the same way, because I know they will. I just like doing this now because it's a lot easier to explain, especially with things I've already looked at in a different moment of now, in a very literal sense, now looking at it from the complete contrast of what it's really saying. So one oak tree left and only one meat stick to drop. There you go. Isn't that fun? So there's Oak Island. There's a couple of little documentaries on it, but I thought this was... I'll see if I can find the link for you guys. Or if someone, whoever posted it to me, again, I get hammered with so many things every day. It would be greatly appreciated. I really do my best to try to remember everybody. I really do. There are thousands of you. So go easy, please. Anyway, if you could repost that link, it was priceless. And another thing, I was talking with a friend today about a movie that I will be watching tonight. And for those that, just based on the description they were telling me of this movie, it's going to be another one of those math magic cartoon type right in your face truths. But anyway, the movie is called The Phantom Tollbooth. It is available on YouTube for those with YouTube downloader, go on over and grab that, because I will be talking about that movie tomorrow night in grandiose detail, and I feel an essay coming on, and I really want to clarify this whole vampire thing. I don't know how to make it any simpler. I really don't. If you have anything in the system, you are bait. And to the degree that you are clinging to that bait, that's the hook that's in you. So let go and be Peter Pan and the rest of the kids. Third star on the right, straight on till morning. Okay? And for those that watched got lots of feedback on the Robert Morning Sky. Now, remember, and I should always preface this anytime I suggest a movie, do not watch it literally. Watch it for the energies. Because as I was listening to Robert go through all of these things, I'm already putting the energies in place, like the nasty Isis, there's the negative feminine, and just all of these different energies, and you see the same story being played out, and all it is doing is adding so much more to the proof of what it is we've been doing at this table for so long, of proving the same story over and over. And it doesn't take long for any stubborn ego, unless it's just absolutely really stuck in the program and has been degraded so far that it just won't wake up. There's nothing anyone can do about that but the one that's stuck in it. Sorry, you're responsible for your own rights. No one's coming to save you. We're going to try to help and point ways out here, but you get that ego thing out of the way. It'll keep you blind. So look at things from an energetic. And once you're in a neutral zone, once you're right up the middle balance, you've got both sides working together. You've got the logic and the creative working like a finely tuned machine. And you've removed all of the emotion, negative emotions, and positive ones too. This is about getting neutral. And that being said, geez, Kate, it sounds like it's going to be really boring. No, quite the opposite. It is pure bliss. And bliss is something you cannot put words to. It is a neutral, just crazy awesome. I got to tell you, I went through a lot of energy transfer over the last few days. And I'm just now starting to come back out of it. Because that was a lot of energy to transmute from Friday night, and the experience I had on Saturday from this ultimate contrast of two completely juxtaposed worlds, within 12 hours of each other, was pretty intense. So it was like crossing the universe all the way and then coming all the way back. So it took that shakes up the ear just a little bit. I did mention I was going to talk about the Pi Phi trap. This is why I want you to watch the Phantom Toll Booth, because based on what was being shared with me, this one is going to put the icing on the cake. I just have that gut feeling. I'm going to be doing a bit more of Mike Tessarian's stuff too. Again, Mike was talking about the RE, same way that Robert Morningsky talks about the RE, and of course with me, music arias, and all of these sounds. They all mean Ria, earth, hearts, hearing the law of truth. And it's time to lose the predator seeing with your eyes, hearing with them instead, and using your real eyes that are on the side of your head. Because if you take your ears and put them together, they make a heart. That's your chalice. That's where things come together. And you have 360-degree vision with your ears. You can do any sound around you, and you'll be able to pinpoint it in your mind exactly where it is. That's what it means to see with your ears. So start playing with that a little bit. You might even want to just get someone to just maybe snap their fingers behind you in different locations, and you will be totally amazed at how pinpoint accurate you are. You are perfect sonar. You're perfect everything. Now that one's for the spirit, not for the or the soul. That's not for the ego. But that's the greatest and easiest trick to play on an ego. You tell an ego it's perfect, it goes, Oh, no conflict. I am perfect. And of course, while it's busy looking in its mirror, Constantine the movie, while it's looking in the mirror of, oh, look at me, and then, of course it jumps in the mirror and then you just smash the mirror. That's effectively what I do. I visualize that. Anytime I have any of this energy to transmute, I just visualize the mirror and I gather up all of this shite and I throw it into the mirror, and there it is, just like in Constantine. I use the same visual because it works. And then I just throw it out my proverbial window and it smashes on the ground, thereby completely destroying it. That's how I nullify energies constantly. So I wanted to cover St. Pat's a bit today. What a weekend, right? Ides of March, St. Pat's. Everything as far as I have seen, this game is done. So we just got to stay the course. Keep the heart neutral. Keep everything in check. If you've got any emotional hang-ups or if you're hanging on to anything at all, that is ego. That is emotion. And that is chock full of conditions. It's chock full of judgments. Now, Mike Tsarian was talking in his video about you have to make judgments. I will agree to the intent that he had. His intent was be a good observer, to see the contrast. You're seeing things that you would do or wouldn't do. You're not judging the individual, saying, that's right or that's wrong. No, you're looking at it going, that's not something I would do. Thank you for the contrast to remind me. And when you start looking at things from a gratitude perspective of that's something that I do not wish to experience or something I do wish to experience, and observe the other point of you giving you that contrast, be grateful, because what that shows you is where on Jacob's ladder you've climbed to. And again, this is not a get higher or lower. This is we're all on the same plane. We're all on the same level. These are just degrees of separation of contrast, nothing more, nothing less, because we're all one. We're all the same. It's like I've talked before about the new cagers to talk about, it's time to be the one, be with the one. And even that statement alone is a duality statement. I am all. What part of that aren't people getting? And that's exactly what you are, the most perfect, most beautiful essence in the entire universe. I know because you're me and I am another point of view. And we get to resonate together, or to the degree that there is energies that have been messed with. Guys, the human game is a game of playing the underdog to the infinite level to get out. And the underdog always wins. Didn't you see the cartoon? Okay. It's always the illusion. Remember, this is the game of God playing the game of not God. Or what does it feel like to not be God? And we go from, like I've talked about in the past, we go from the state of all-knowing to the point of conception in this game into a complete not knowing. And then you pop out of mama, and the next thing you know is you're getting all of these imprints of your society. You're white, you're black, you're Jewish, you're Christian, you're Muslim, you're Asian, you're whatever. And all of just part of the point that you come into the game. There is no separation from the rest of anyone. The separation that people experience are the ego imprints of a society that is putting those things in place where humanity for a long time has just bought into the bullshit. I am no different than anyone else on this planet. Last time I checked, my blood was red. And I've got lots of blue blood too, I guess. That's the lungs. You close your eyes and get silent. Not a whole lot of judgment in that, you see. So keep that in mind. Another little thing that crossed my mind today too, and it felt right. When you neutralize and start getting into a create potential, i.e. when you've started to neutralize some of the words to make them not positive or negative, where it's just your pure intent, now you're dealing from the straight source magnetic. That's my feeling on it, and it works as far as I can tell. And what I was working on today was they'll always tell you to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth when you're meditating. Well, I'm going to say no, because I do everything backwards. Have you noticed? So what I started to do was I would take from the outside toroidal field, because that's the one I want to change, right? Change my reality. So I was bringing all of the distortions in, transmuting and breathing through my torus field, mouth, and breathing it out through the nose, because there's light receptors in the nose. That's why when you look at the sun, you'll sneeze, right? It's just a reaction. But to me, it made more sense to send the truth back out through, because you'll create it in the toroidal field, and then of course, when you're in neutral, that's where you have the blue blood or the lungs of creation. Remember that chart I was talking about? Everything else is blacked out except the lungs. It's blue. So that's a spiritual. That's what a blue blood is. It's a spiritual blood, not a physical blood. And you can hear all the theories and all the intellectual left-brainers going crazy on this stuff. But so visualize this. So you're breathing in distortions to transmute in your toroidal field. So you bring it in through your torus, through your pearly gates. It gets transmuted in you, because you have, of course, the Virgo within you, the spiritual womb that we all have. Virgo, we all have bellies, right? And then when you're breathing it out, it's transmuted, and you breathe it out through the nose, because the nose knows. Anyway, it just felt right, it thought right, and it was kind of neat to do it, because it was completely the opposite of anything I've ever heard anyone talking about with meditation. Breathe in through the nose, get through the body, and then breathe out. So to me, it's like taking in all the bullshit and reaffirming it through the nose, bring it into a non-neutral zone, and then breathing it back out through your torus. Okay, so that to me wasn't cutting the wax anymore. So. And like I say, I put everything in the mirror. If somebody says to go up, I'll have a look down, The old saying back in the day when banks and stuff were actually, mattered. That's so funny. When banks actually mattered, I used to look at banks and go, well, if they're saying this is a good deal in this direction, what's 180 degrees from that? Because I know that's where they're going. Because the banks were never about helping people. They were about fleecing people. And Robert Morningsky gets great detail as far as the administration and the power of the Rock-Pharaohs and the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, as far as the control systems go. Our entire history that we've taught, don't you find it a little odd that instead of teaching, beautiful things in history, of course, it's McNally Rand. Rand is a military industrial complex defense contractor. It would make sense if you want to sell weapons and stuff that you would teach all about war, so that you neutralize the child's mind, thinking, well, war's a good thing. And what were we told as kids, and what did we tell our kids? That you don't solve anything through fighting, and then you take your kids to school, and history major here, guys. That 90% of history was involved in battles, wars, conflicts. And the other 10% was just a bit of fluffy paper covering. That is not creating a conducive, peaceful mindset. Now, whether you're just looking at it in a book or whatever, doesn't matter. It's the concept and the intent contained behind it. And everything is an absolute sham. It's all bullshit. The history that we have been spoon-fed, like the poison it is absolute garbage. Effectively, humanity's memory was wiped out 6,000 BC. But that's what happens when you start allowing a vampire to come into your party. So don't complain. Don't ever complain. You invite the home wrecker in. You'll clean up the mess. And you'll pay for it until you finally close that door and don't let the vampires in any longer. Because they're going to bring a werewolf friend with them as well, right? That's the ego, and it's going to try to imprint you, right? What happens with a werewolf? When you get bitten by a werewolf, you become one too, and that's what an ego is. You're wearing the wolf of another. That's wearing the sheep in wolf's clothing. You're the sheep wearing someone else's wolf clothing constantly. And all of these allegories play out so beautifully, and everything connects so wonderfully. So the conflicts that you find yourself in are the ones you've brought upon yourself. That what you put out. It's like this. If you scowl at someone, are you expecting a smile? If you punch someone in the mouth, are you expecting a peck on the cheek? How about have you ever noticed if you smile at someone, they actually smile back? Have you ever noticed that you give someone a kind word and they give you a kind word back? You should try this in the elevator sometime. It's quite something to watch that tension break. You know, you can feel the rigidity of people's shoulders caught up in their program. I can't talk to anyone. If I can talk to someone, teacher will give me shit. Remember in class? That was programmed in class. Keep your eyes on your own work and don't talk to anyone else in the classroom, kids. You remember that shit. You do it in the elevator. So go ahead, tell me you're grown up. Come on. You're just manifesting the same shit that you were trained and indoctrinated with all these programs getting run in us. And never mind the fact that the math and the English and the symbols and sigils programming that has everybody talking backwards here. But we're dispelling all of that. We're reversing all of that. And it's happening in rapid order. This planet is changing like exponentially fast right now. And I wouldn't want to be caught up in the wake of not being awake, honestly, because it's going to be a mind blower for a lot of humanity, but it's going to be a beautiful mind blower. That's the trick. And remember, you guys are the lights that are standing. You're the ones holding the light, okay? And you're the ones that are the stable point. And that's all I ever try to be, is a stable point, a stable datum that I will stand, and not to be leaned on, but just to be there as my own light, to show that I'm standing and so can you. You know, that cool cat a lot of years back said it. He says, and you shall do greater things than I. I took the guy at his word. You know what? He's right. He didn't have internet. We do. Huh. Yeah, we're doing it better. We're already doing it better. You know, and it goes right back to, you know, and you call, why do you call me Lord and not do the things I tell you to do, dipshit? I'll finish some of his quotes. They probably didn't have that in Hebrew back then, but I'll finish it for him. Anyway, he's a cool cat. The guy was a radical. He wasn't saying go into these churches. He was saying burn the motherfuckers down. He wasn't saying go to the bank and get a loan. He went into the temple and turned all their fucking tables over. Kicked them out. You know? Nothing religious about that boy. That's all spirit, that is. You know, and this guy's telling the same story that Hare Krishna was saying, that Muhammad and Buddha, Gautama Siddhartha, Ahura Mazda, on and on, all of the same stories. I mean, we're dealing with the Vedics here, Eastern, the great teachings, the Gnostic teachings, and this is a cosmic joke, boys and girls, and you're all falling for it. You've been had. And guess whose fault it is? Yours. Now, the ego will say, well, shut up, cry me a river. I screwed up. Well, I didn't really, because it was all about contrast. You can't have a game without contrast, so lighten up. You know, you got to lighten up on this. You got to start looking at it from the joke perspective. Imagine it as a giant universe candid camera. And then you have to go and watch your silly antics after the show, knowing full well that you just got pranked. You know, prana keyed, pranked. Yeah. It's a coincidence, right? Anyway, I've yapped long enough. Let's get everybody in here. Got area code 956. For those who want to call in, you can call in at 661-467-2401. And, of course, you can Skype in via the Blog Talk page. Just hit the Skype button and follow Rudolph. Bring you right there with Santa Sled. Once you are on the board, all you have to do is hit 1 on the keypad on your phone and open up the dial pad on Skype by hitting the plus sign, hit show dial pad, hit 1. That will bring you on the board as well. I'll just do a quick shout-out right now, and probably another one. Great big thank you to Paul G. and the crew at criticalmassradio.co.uk, and of course all of you out there just doing your thing, keeping this table rolling. And JC, gonna give got to give you a call, my friend. The magic is beyond profound. I just want to share a few things with you, one-on-one, and you need to know how astonishingly, incredibly beautiful you are. You all are. It's just magic. It's just magic. Who's on 956? I can never remember that one. I don't remember now.
Manny Sunny Sun. I have Manny Sunny Sun.
Geez, Lord, Sonny, you got me again. Oh, Manny Sunny.
Gee whiz.
So how are you, my friend? It's great to hear your voice again.
Oh, it's beautiful. I'm in full understanding. It's not complicated, but once you pull the veil out and shine the light, then we become our own selves.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. Like you said, we're a perfect symphony. But I hope everyone's taking it pretty good. Especially you, Kate. You got it going on. That alchemy, you got it.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun.
I love listening to your show. There's a lot of astrotheological, occult, mythology, ancient scriptures, everything here in this radio show.
I bring it all together
for you, Kate.
I bring it all together.
I'm here for you. I'm here for you, Kate.
I know. I got to tell you, today I had a great chat with just texting with Alessandro in Italy, and what I love is because whether it's printed on a screen or whatever, the energy of the being transmits through that. I can always tell what the energy of. I don't care what you write. I can feel the energy of it, and it's just wonderful.
Well, me and you, Kate, we're absorbing that mercurial affiliation. I'm a Gemini. You're a Gemini. Yep. We're twins.
Yep.
And that's why I always resonate with you. And every top of the hour, I feel it. So go on. We must continue. Like you say, it seems folly. It seems fallible, but
that's the trap.
We've crossed. Yeah. What's the trap?
The doubt trap. The doubting of the magic.
The doubt. Yep. Yeah.
And it was so well hidden, and we have a masterful job, guys.
Crazy.
What a game!
It's crazy. Yeah, you said it.
And when you see these people walking around in the uniforms and they're all grumpy and I'm going, come on, you're missing it. This is so fun, and but again, that's part of the contrast. It's all good. We played that role. It's all good. That's why don't beat up anything, guys, because you've been that. That's you. So.
Oh.
It's
okay.
Again, the Mayan pyramid, right? You got all levels of consciousness and creation happening right now. You've got the single cell, and the microbes, and the multi-organism, and for anyone that's looked at the Mayan pyramid, the 9-level pyramid of consciousness, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Now, there are a lot of humans that are still running at the the 3rd and 4th level. And that's not a judgment. That is an observation of contrast, because we were there. So how can you judge something that you were and are not now? So you're contrasting yourself through another point of you. It's not them. You're contrasting yourself. And that's where ego trips up every time, because ego is only about throwing the shit out because I don't want to take responsibility for my nonsense. And that's what an ego does. And it's not the being. I know that. Right. That's why... as funny as it is, it's painfully frustrating, and you cannot talk with this because it just goes circular. And just when you think they get it goes circle again. The ego grabs a hold again because the emotions take hold. And until you get a grip on that shit, baby, you are toast. See you on Groundhog Day. Not me. I won't be there. I'm staying on the immortal timeline right now. This is now, and I'm here, and I'm staying here. Yeah. Well, hey, Manny, look at the teachers out there that I had the absolute pleasure of cherry picking from, and that's all I've done. I've taken the best of the best and put them all into the same pie. That's all I've done, and I've got my own life experience to bring that together. But that's what I do is I cherry pick the best. the astrotheology. There's Santo, the Bible allegory. There's Bill Donahue. Ancient histories. You've got Mike Tessarians. There's a handful of guys that do that. For math, you got Marty Leeds, and for the spiritual aspect, like uber spiritual aspect, Matt Presti, Robert Otte, Savon Bomer, Tobias Lars, etc. So I mean, you've got all of these. Dan Winter, yeah.
Winter.
I have covered so many things. I don't think I've been stumped on a. Yeah, I don't think I've been stumped on any particular avenue as far as I having had a look at it, because I'm insatiable. You know what Geminis are like. We're insatiable. That's the hard part to shut down, right? So I gotta think. Go, look. Chitter chatter. I think I can constantly. And so I just finally got to the top of that mountain and said, no, I could. I know I could. And I just leave it there. I don't worry about thinking anymore. But yeah, we're having quite a ride. But you're seeing the magic, yeah?
I'm seeing it.
It's hard to believe some days, and that's the Piscean aspect that people will find the hardest to overcome. But it doesn't surprise me anymore. There's still aha moments, but they're not. Oh my God, haha! You're just like, yeah, I know. Confirm, and every one of those is a aha AHA added to my DNA, right? So that's the end, the last Mimsy at the end, building that bridge, and that's how you build the bridge. That's how you take the bride home, baby. You get across that threshold, and you're home. Yeah. So what's up with you these days? We haven't talked a whole lot in the last while.
Well,
what's keeping you busy?
I'm continuing the evolution. What's been called these days, the evolution of consciousness, of staying. Well, there's a lot of thinking going on in my evolution. I think a lot.
Well, absolutely. And that's not to say that I don't think. That's actually, I can't even really describe it. I think without thinking. I just kind of, everything's loose, There's no tightness in my thought. It's just like, observe the now, see what's here, have a look around, connect dots. And it doesn't matter what I look at, because everything ties together. Example yesterday was talking with some friends and had mentioned Jeff Dunham. I had said something and it kind of went over people's heads, and then someone had mentioned about Jeff Dunham. And what was the character? He went over your head. Oh, that's Peanut. And of course, what was I talking about? And that I got the Oak Island thing yesterday. So it's like, oh yeah, okay, Peanut. Here we go. That's what I do. Is I map my now and I listen for, because everything is for a reason. And when you really start catching on to this, it is funny. It's you're constantly going, you didn't just say that. Yes, you did. That's so funny. And everything is perfect. I can't begin.
What's an elephant? Can you separate those words?
Oh, elephant. Well, I make the intent silent. The L I silence, right? Silence the left, remember? So that Abel can plant her roses. So I silence the L in elephant and have Ia font. Now there you have the Ia, the EA, that's the yang yin instead of yin yang. You've got that's where you become the darkness source, because in the beginning the Ari created light. Okay? The light came out of the dark, not the other way around. Okay? So in the beginning there was light. So we got the EA, which is the 9-6, and of course that was the thing that my oldest daughter was, for 4 or 5 years or more, she would chant that as she was going to sleep with her baby Molly. She'd flick the tag on the back of the doll, and she'd EA, 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 over and over. And I knew she was trying to tell me something at the time. And this was like 18 years ago almost. And, it won't be 16, 17 years when she was talking, whatever. But I remember listening, and because I was very, very spiritually aware at the time, knowing that, pay very close attention to my girls when they got here. So because they're coming in clean, right? So didn't want to do too much imprinting, right? And that's the thing. Both my girls never had an issue with them crying at night or whatever. I think there was a 2-week stint for each of them, and I would pick them up and walk them around, and make them feel safe and get them to touch walls and stuff, knowing it's a spatial thing. It's when you come back in here, you just came out of the all-knowing again into the all-unknowing. It's a little unnerving, and you might not be quite stable in that body just yet, so I would do that just to stabilize. And it worked a treat. It was perfect. I go over and touch the wall, they would touch the wall, go over and touch the microwave, they touch that. That's when I had one. And just stuff like that. But she would say this over and over, and I knew she was trying to tell me something, and I was sitting at my sister's place a year ago last summer, and it hit me. The E and the A, the lowercase, is 9 and 6 in the mirror. And then that's where it just exploded from there. And it just kept growing, growing, and growing. So there's the Ia from the Ia font. And then, of course, the Hera font came in as well. Hera being the wife of Zeus, or the... Zu. the Iazu. The Iasu, and the master is the Iazu, right? Talk about the zoo of humanity, indeed. But anyway, and look what they trigger us there. What is a zoo? Well, it's a place where they cage all the animals. So it's a spirit cage, basically. Just a coincidence, though, right? Anyway, so then you have Fa, which is the heart note, and Ent, which is mind. So what you have is the Yang-Yin heart mind. So, and what does an Ia font never do? It never forgets. It never forgets. And when I saw the Oak Island, and it was like, and of course, Southern Ontario. If you take a map of Southern Ontario, it's a town called Owen Sound. They call it the butthole of the elephant. And if you look at the map, it shows literally an elephant. You'll see the elephant, and it's right there. And where I live, guarantee I've been living in the heart of that elephant for a long time, right? So I'm going to locate Guelph to see where that is. That's where my home is, and well, one of them anyway. So again, for me, home is just it's not here. It's not here. This is. Not in this physical sense. This Doris clicking her heels and she's going home, Oh, we got someone else jumping in with us, Manny. You ready for this? Here we go. Area code 646.
I'm ready.
Right on.
Hey, it's Brian. How's it going?
Hey, Brian. How are you?
Good. I was just been thinking about it for a few days. I was wondering what you thought of the word status quo.
Oh, status quo. Let me see. Look, there it is, my pen. I like to do
come
the
up
show
a few times.
Well, status. Well, we all like that word, don't we? Status quo. Status quo is to go along to get along, basically, right? Stay with the status quo.
Yeah.
Well, it would be a state of the intent, masculine and feminine use, right? And quo, well, letter by letter, it's divine feminine gratitude of the law of truth in the magnetic electric, or the US, right? US and ME are the same thing to me. Quo, well, there's your creation with the sperm in it, so that's an inseminated egg, and of course the U is the intent into creation. So I guess it would really depend on the context that's being used. In terms of the status quo, I would say that humanity has been very static. It would be more along the lines of static quo. But then again, static needs to be still. Static electricity there's nothing still about it. You know what I'm saying? So there's a a polarized word.
Well, I was just going to say that it's like a learning experience in a way. So it's not as static, but sure.
There's a polarized word that we just neutralize. Static means to be absolutely still, and static electricity is moving. So it's an equal and opposite.
Yeah.
So now you know that static is a neutral word, so anytime you're uttering it, it's coming out with just your pure magnetic intent, your creation. And that's all I'm doing now.
It's funny, people use static to fall asleep, too, a lot. Like through my life, I had like people that would always tell me, "I listen to TV static or white noise or pink noise, fall asleep." Yeah. Interesting. I don't know. Cool.
Yeah, I don't.
Well,
I don't know.
Mute out and listen, but.
Okay, well, I'll leave your mic open. So if you're mute out and you're in, that'd be great. Jump in when you feel like you want to. Great to have you, Brian. And
sure,
484, you're in. Thank as well.
Ryan. Hi, Kate.
Hey, how are you?
This is Eric. I'm doing awesome. I love surfing the sound wave. I love hearing all the voices because everyone has their own unique vibrational signature frequency.
Isn't it cool?
And it's so awesome when you vibrate with your very own and not taking on someone else's. It's like if people are walking around feeling all down and low, it's probably because you're carrying around a belief that isn't yours, that you picked up from someone else.
Yes. Someone flogged an ego imprint and you bought it. Time to give that puppy back, thanks, or just throw it in the garbage. Right? Garbage. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say this, too, with neutralizing words. Now, I had a Christian come into me and talk, the word was hellfire, right? So, of course, because I was a part of it, now I'm on the opposite side looking at the contrast from where I was. And I was like, I know that whole intention behind that word is, be afraid. You got to fear it. But you should have seen the shock and expression on his face. And a blank stare. It was just a blank stare when I was like, I love hellfire.
Well, yeah, Helios.
Helios and fire of the spirit. Yeah, I love these. Or H, the left-right hemispheres of consciousness connected. E, the consciousness, double intent.
Yep. You got it.
Faro.
Faro, sacred creation. Fa, heart notes. No coincidences.
Yo, bam, that was neutralized right there.
Yeah.
that was.
Well, if some Christian was ever to say that to me, I'd say, so let me get this right. You're saying that your God is an all-loving God and is going to threaten you with hellfire damnation if you don't like him. Nice. No ego there, huh? You're going to love me or else. Yeah, that's a great loving God, yeah. I guess that would be the Lord thy God is a jealous God, right?
That's what I said. In any given moment, I'm loved and hated in any moment. I'm alone and not alone, and at the same time. So all that dissolves. I'm just like, well, either or, whatever.
See, that's the neat thing about the word alone. Check this out. A before a word is a prefix meaning not. So not lone, right? Or all one.
Yeah.
It's got some beautiful twists in it that really has, and there are some words that actually lean in a positive way, and they're actually difficult to polarize. So those to me are words that I like to use more because there's such an intense positive in them already. But I will neutralize them anyway. But it's interesting that some are just they neutralize in a flash, and some you got to work at. For the most part, as soon as you neutralize a word, that's yours to use with your intent, and it's coming straight out of Magnetic Mama Center of You from the heart, boys, girls. That's the shit to talk about.
Well, I also stumbled on something today earlier. I came across. Sometimes I'd be thinking of a thought. It'll just enter my mind like something I never even thought before, like a concept that I just get. And then I'll be looking around at different things, and I'll just stumble on things, something that I wasn't even looking for, and I'll be like, well, this seems interesting. I'll click on it or watch it or read it or whatever, and it'll end up talking about the same thing I was just thinking. I'm like, what? I end up smacking the arm of my chair, like, come on. Really?
Welcome to the Magic Kingdom, huh?
And, but I was thinking of, I had one particular thought when I was, a while ago about pictures and words and tones, and I stumbled on something. When I stumble on something, I'm like, what was that? And I'm like, oh, wow, what I just stumbled on. But I have it's real quick to share. It's from Reconnections, .net. It's about tones. It's everything that you talk about, sounds and sounds.
It's your table. Knock yourself out. Let's go. Let's have her.
All right. I'm starting at the beginning. It says, quote, "In the higher vibrational dimensions, words and thoughts are replaced by clear, unbroken tones. If one picture is worth 1,000 words, one tone is worth 1,000,000 pictures. Truly, words and thought are simply tones, living in separation." And it says, so are you. Those who can hear these tones high above all other sounds will never, ever be deceived. Words can be misleading, ideas can be obscured, but in unbroken tones, there's no place to hide. When a guitarist strums upon his instrument, he will sometimes punctuate his music with delicate, high harmonic pings. What produces this sound is not his sure and firm pressure upon the frets. Rather, it is a subtle placement of his fingers, almost between the vibrations of the strings. In this, the beauty exists in his keen ability to align and his focus of power and speed, that he might dance with the arcs of vibratory resonance and ride the octaves to the tones to their highest expression. And then it goes on to say, even so, when you feel consumed by the pressures and rapid turns of life and fate, you can, if you choose, spend your energy chained to the earth in fear, or you can stand still in faith and ride the moment high above the mountains and be borne on waves of light and sound. When the all that is begins to sing to us, the music can only be heard with your heart. And then down below it says, it explains how the word tone is actually a contraction of the words to one. It is a meeting place for 2 points of beingness. One point becomes the hearer, while the other that which is heard. They move to one and create a tone, you see. One is the eye and the other is the image, and so on. We use the term tone when speaking of A, sounds, B, colors, or C, emotion, i.e., I don't like the tone of this conversation. When we stop listening merely to words or believing just what we see, opting to begin listening to tones, we will never be deceived again. Unless we want to, we learn to look beyond the physical, the word meta meaning beyond, hence the term metaphysical, into the tones that are underlying everything. And that's that little what I have to share.
You just described exactly what I couldn't put into words on Saturday when I was trying to describe that music as I was starting that experience. It was like these multi-layered vocal harmonies, just beautiful layers. I guess you could probably equate it to angelic, that choir sort, but it was way beyond that. But you pretty much described it. It was pretty awesome.
I figured you were a guitarist, so that was pretty conclusive.
Nothing takes me away faster than sitting on a guitar, especially sitting around plucking off harmonics, because those harmonics just, especially in the 432 pitch, they cut through all the shit, and it totally puts me at ease. So if I ever need to just sit, and that's something else too I've done a lot of over the last couple of years, being focused on this, where I couldn't leave my guitar alone. I couldn't leave it overnight. I'd have to have it with me, or I'd be like having a git fit, they used to call them, right? But it's time to get back, and I've got a couple of ideas in mind. I'm going to work on something with a pure phonetic intention contained, so I'll probably end up writing it backwards. I'll write it out and then I'll work it out, but it's going to be an interesting experiment anyway. Hey, you know what? I just love messing around with truth. Once you get it, you can kind of go, yeah, this is neat, because now you can play with it. And when you see the... Go ahead. No, I talk all the time. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been piercing into other realities. I guess some people would call them past lives or future lives, and I'm like, well, are they really past or future lives, or all these lives I'm living in other alternate timelines, alternate universes, realities, whatever you label them? Because sometimes people are like, well, what are you talking about? Are you talking about, what are you talking about? Illusion, dimension, world, realm? I'm like, it's these labels are messing with your head. I'm just like, we're all talking about the same thing. You're just labeling it, whatever label you choose to put on it. But, listen to the underlying thing of it all. But, yeah, every time I'd be closing my eyes, I'd be in another place. And I swear, like, as I learn more and as I'm starting to pick up more, I'm teaching other people in these other realms that I visit. And sometimes I'm in alternate realities to where I know people very well and they know me very well that I've never, ever met here in this particular now timeline that I'm in right now. And I'm changing everything in all my other timelines. So I have infinite timelines going on right now, and I'm becoming more aware and conscious that I'm changing every single one of them in now, like right here in this now timeline. I'm changing them all. They're all shifting.
Let me throw a confirmation for you based on what you just said there. If you get the visual of all infinite timelines existing now, which they do, every thought that you have, and this is where the power of the programming of the human mind has been so effective, because if you can condition a human mind into thinking in a certain pattern, like in fear especially, what happens then is you end up constantly, the things that you think are your imagination of, you hear people talk about, well, what if you get pulled over, and that exists in that timeline. That is a reality in a timeline. And what happens then is you literally get pulled into that timeline. And they're all working together in one single thread here, okay? And the universe, this is the magic of this place. We're awesome. But what you're doing is when you put that out there, because it's a programmed fear in you, you're actually shifting over into that timeline, and it's gonna coincide. So this is why the whole idea of stopping kids from daydreaming, from having their imaginations, because that is the actual reality that gets created.
I had a very intense experience like a few months ago where I laid down and I got totally silent, quiet, and my consciousness was so aware, like my full awareness and intent was in the now moment, and I just went, and the last thing I remembered was I was behind this woman. She took me somewhere, and it was just complete darkness, and she just vanished, and I was just left there. I was becoming fully self-aware while I was in that state of being, and I was just looking around, and I didn't see, it was just total darkness, total blackness, but I was still existing. Like, I felt myself still existing, and then before you know it, my whole being began just vibrating intensely, and I started, like, floating up and, like, starting to float forwards, like, leaning forwards. I was like, whoa, I was so excited, and I was thinking about it, I was like, well, it was just pure darkness and nothingness, but I was like, it was like, well, in a sense, I didn't see anything, but actually, I did. I was still seeing. I was seeing nothing. I was seeing darkness, and I was so excited. It felt so peaceful, blissful, and like there was a sense of depth. There was a huge sense of like awe-inspiring depth in this place. And then I was like, the first thought I had was I wanted to tell someone. That was the very first thought. I was like, I want to tell someone. And then I rode the sound wave all the way back, and before I came back into my body, I woke up. Because I was thinking of my cell phone and one of my friends I wanted to text and like, I just had this crazy experience. And, I can't prove it to anyone. I can't. Like, no, but
that's pretty close to Saturday. For me, it was beyond lucid. It was more real than this. Which is like, as soon as, because when I woke up, I'm going, okay, what the fuck am I doing here? Wait a minute, what just happened? Have you ever had a dream where you were falling in it? Everyone's had those dreams, right?
Most of them, I'm flying, and I'm the only one flying. Everyone else.
I'm looking for a comparison here for people. Like you've had the dream where you've been falling in your dream, and then you woke up before you hit, kind of thing, right? You know that feeling that you get?
While in a dream, or?
Well, this is in general for everybody. That's not one-on-one. I'm just thinking. Remember, we got like over 1 million people here, so we kind of gotta share the wealth a little. I love you. The point is, it's that rush. Remember the rush? When you were little, you felt that rush, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for most people, I know I've had quite a few dreams where I woke up from a falling, feeling like I'm falling, right? What I had on Saturday was completely the opposite, yet the same feeling rising. It was friggin' amazing. And we got Colleen and Mike in the call here too. So, no, that's you can't put these things into words, can you? You just can't.
No. Because even hearing it now, like sometimes I'll be like, I'll imagine myself falling and the universe catching me. Like I'll imagine myself just falling out of my body, falling out of everything here, and be like, just imagine myself free falling and then just starting to soar instead of, keep on falling. Like I'm gonna be caught and I'm gonna be riding the wind.
Yep. And what we're talking about here right now is what all of the teachers from all cultures, all of the shaman, the medicine men and women, and the two spirits and what have you. This is and the Gnostic teachers. This is the same story that they've all been sharing. And isn't it cool that we've got so many people gathering around playing at the Iasu level? Like, come on, guys. Don't worry, I'll give you all a pat in the back, okay? I'll pat myself in the back, and that's all of you from here, okay? All my other points of view, big pat in the back. Well done,
Beautiful.
And sometimes, because even back in school, like, everyone had their, like, cliques and groups, and I never found myself in any particular group, and I had friends in every one of them. I wasn't stuck in one group or looking at the other,
No, it's like funny you say that. I was talking about that last night. I used to hang out with, the jocks, the stoners, the nerds, the geeks. It didn't matter to me. I hung out with everybody, and it was like it was always neutral. It was just like you're threading through all of this beautiful humanity, getting all these different experiences, and of course, no judgments or anything, right? So you're just kind of hanging out, So I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Because, if you label yourself one thing, then
that's what you...
I mean, that's fine if that's what you want, but,
that's
I'm
uniform.
undefinable.
Yeah.
I'm undefinable, I'm the unbounded, I'm an unbinded, I don't have a front or back cover on my book. And it's like the more I become aware that everything outside of me, that everything is me, within me, and if I fully consciously know that everything outside of me is already within me, then why would I want to claim or own a piece of something without me?
Exactly.
Aloha.
Michael and Colleen, we got 603's in as well.
Michael.
Savoir faire is everywhere.
Savoir faire.
Yes, everywhere. Aloha.
Yeah, just beautiful.
You ever have that dream where, like, I don't want to be too explicit here, where you're holding on to something and it keeps changing?
Well, holding on to your winky and it keeps changing on you?
That's something
saying?
Something else was.
It's okay. This is a grown-up table. You can actually say cock. It's okay.
Yeah. So I was having.
Fix a window with it too.
In my dream, and it changed to a different woman, different person, different object, until I was like the kitchen sink or something, and my mind was just like, you're having sex with the sink right now, and I'm just like, wow, this is what I get for lucid dreaming. Oh, I didn't.
You brought everything and the kitchen sink. Talk about Morph Boy. Unbelievable. Good job. I'm going to hang out in your universe for a while. That sounds crazy.
I have to say, I can't remember one of those dreams.
I can't either, but I've had a few that. Here's the irony of me too. I'm actually the real me in my dreams. It's really kind of. It's I've told people for a long time, this is I wake up to a nightmare.
You validate your dreams. As a real thing.
Yeah, but the falling dreams, a lot of times you wake up before you hit. And how many people have gone on through where you actually do hit?
Well, the old saying, no one's come back to tell the story, but apparently the saying has it, if you hit, you die in your sleep, right? So I guess dead men tell no tales, but it's that same energy, though, and it is really that intense. Just as I was pushing through this veil, it was that intense of falling but rising, and it was just completely weightless, and it was full body. It wasn't. And Yvonne, by the way, if you guys get a chance, the show he did last night, I think it's the last 45 minutes when he's on with Dino. Come on. Anyway, it's some beautiful, beautiful stuff, as always with Stefan. You know what Stefan's like. When he comes back on, I'm going to break his name apart into and he is walking his name to a fucking T. To a T. He's like, you can't put you know how they talk about the pyramid blocks? You can't put a piece of paper between them? Yeah. It's tighter than that.
It's also a story, Kate. Yep. And it's a lot of the feelings you've been expressing. I was in a hammock one time, and when I went on the journey, I forgot where I was in this physical body, and then I came back and I was in a hammock. So that's where I can now go back and begin the story and go, I was in a hammock. Okay. And I fell through the hammock and went down into the earth and went through many layers, many levels, but on the way down it was really fast. And I ended up in, I don't want to call it the core of the planet. It was a core of the planet, and I saw these big, like, Easter Island heads, and they were chained in a way. And I was down there when I looked around with just full-on, I could only call it children energy. It was like I was in there with all these small kids, and we were all looking around like I was, like, whoo. And we just, like, all of a sudden tuned in, and somehow we realized this was free, what we came to come and observe. And on the way back up, this was the weird coming back up. It was like you're saying, floating back to the surface, passing many different parts in this. And then it reminded me of what we've seen in some Eastern traditions in Tibetan, and you'll see the paintings and stuff, different, what's the words they use? Layers of reality, levels of reality, and they'd be pulling at you, calling you. Some were sounds like just beautiful female singing, or just beautiful singing in general, and you'd be drawn. And I just had this just feeling in my heart, no, don't stop. Come right back up. And there was these and then boom, I'm in the hammock. And it was like you're saying, it was almost this opposite effect. I was coming I don't want to call it gravity, but it was, let's say if gravity is your heart center, that's where your gravity is from. Yeah, I was getting pulled right back to it. Beautiful. And that's beautiful. And that's kind of like when you're falling, sometimes in a dream, you'll have another experience where, whether it was falling or something, and then you wake up and immediately realize you're still dreaming. And this will happen 3 or 4 times. And
lucid dreaming.
Yeah. And you're thinking, sometimes it's a good, a positive experience, so to say. Others, it was more fearful, so you kind of shifted your awareness out of that reality, but you didn't come back to your so-called body yet. And this is the kind of falling sometimes, like where you, like you were saying, Colleen, did you pass through?
Yeah. And that's where, when I did hit, and I've had this many times, when I hit, it's like you're bracing, but then you're like, you go through it, And then you have that awakening, what death really is, that you do just go into a different dimension. And I don't know if anyone has ever been in a car accident or any kind of accident where I was just in a fender bender, and I hit a car in front of me, and my airbags deployed. And when I had closed my eyes, the person had jammed on their brakes, and I ran into them. And I just closed my eyes for the impact. But then I left my body. And that's how the dream is. It's like I felt no impact, nothing. And then later I was all bruised and cut up from just the airbag. And I was only gone 25 miles an hour when I hit. But you go into a whole different space, and that's the same with the dream. When I have the dream and I hit, it's like I just go through that dense matter, and even in the dream, I have the feeling, and it's like I say to myself, oh, so this is what death is.
Yeah, that's exactly it, because and time stood still, eh? That's the other really cool side.
Yes, the real feeling, right? That's the real feeling. Yeah.
What happens? This is my and it's always been my suspicion, and this is why people that are fearful of death is you get out of there before that body drops. Don't worry, because you already know your game. You're all knowing, and the whole drama that gets played out after the fact of the all the rest of this. That's just the death throes of the ego, the remaining energy, and you're already gone. It's no. Ego wants to play that game. It's no wonder it gets pissed off at us. But anyway, wants to play that.
It's actually very beautiful, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. Oh yeah, because this calmness comes all of a sudden because that fear slides out.
Well, I think also there's, like when I close my eyes or whatever, it's that totally, like we talked about the other night, Kate, that totally letting go, surrendering to what is. Whatever is going to come is going to come. Yeah.
And the universe kind of goes, cool, the bitch gets it. No problem, I got this one for you, Kate. And boom, there it is. Just like that.
I had a conversation with my mother today, and I kind of recommend it for anyone who's still speaking with their mother to do it.
I wish I could. I do on a different level.
I go to my mom. We're having a conversation about something, and I was sharing something with her, and she was sharing back, and I said to her, Mom, your only response to this is going to be okay, all right? If I don't hear anything besides okay, it's your ego. Nope. And I said something, and she starts defending it, describing it. I'm like, nah, it's your ego, Mom. And so we're having this beautiful back and forth.
Oh,
and
that's beautiful.
She's like, you've got the biggest ego.
She's listened to Kate's shows before, hasn't she?
She's tuned in, yeah.
So I must be a right handful for her.
She'll leave it at that more. Then I got two against me. Somehow my mom will just... it doesn't matter. So I have the biggest ego, and I'm laughing, and I'm like, just admit it, Mom, you have an ego. No, I don't have an ego.
So saith the ego. And that's the joke about egos. They're the ones that your ego is that's your ego talking. I'm holding the mirror up. Remember, everything is coming out of your face, right? Here it is, guys. I have an ego, and it's under very tight leash. So if you say you don't have an ego, it's got you. That's the dog. You're the dog getting wagged by the tail. Okay.
Right. So I was sharing that in some simple words. I hope she resonated with, which she did, because it ended with, "Well, I have a happy ego."
There you go.
Perfect. And, it's also interesting that Oak Island. There's that OK Island again thing. Oak, right? Oak Island. Also stories of wild dogs with glowing red eyes that guard the area, and I thought, there's Cerebus. I bet you there's 3 sets of eyes there, just for shits and giggles. Because, hey, listen, all the myths, everything that you thought was mythology, that's all real shit, man. That's all real. We're playing a game of games here, and you got to think your way out of it. That's all you got to do. And I'm not going to be rolling over. The only reason I like rolling over at this time because it's actually going an hour later here, and
right.
And it by the time I get to 10 o'clock at night, I'm already spent because I've had a full day of it. Yeah, it's kind of everything. This is what I do every waking moment. Okay. So I just letting people know that when we get back into the when the UK jumps ahead, hopefully it's this weekend, we can get back into doing the 3 hours where it ends at 10 instead of 11 o'clock. It's just it just kills me for trying to sleep and it throws my rhythms right out. So I'm in a groove. So I'm going to be selflessly selfish and selfishly selfless on this one. Keep my brain in very peaceful, fine working order, so that I can come to the table with, hopefully, that's the thing too, right? No pressure. Just got to come to the table every night and have some new goodies. Yeah, no pressure.
Well, one of your goodies tonight, what you had said about the highest form of garlic.
Yes.
Okay.
What was, I have a note here.
Oh, the vampire.
Yeah. Or the werewolf, right?
Well, the
werewolf or vampire?
Well, both of them are going to come knocking at your door. That's the system.
Right. If you're in any kind of contracts, in any kind of spiritual contracts, that whole visual and that whole,
you gonna let him in?
Time we're, yeah, right.
I ain't letting him in.
What is that with all the red eyes like that? Where does that come from?
Oh, Oak Island. That was the stories go that there's wild dogs with glowing red eyes that guard at night around this hole at Oak Island, right?
Right, but a lot of times, they show that in so many, different horror things.
That's the emotion.
Those red eyes.
At the gates of hell.
Okay. Yeah.
You've got to get past emotions. That's the 3-headed dog. Mm-hmm. In order to enter into heaven and Hades at the same time. So you're not going to get to the light until you get to the dark, and the only way to get to the dark, into the truth, is past Cerberus. That's the allegory of Cerberus, the 3-headed dog. That's why they showed it up. It showed up in Harry Potter, guarding the door when they were going through for the Philosopher's Stone, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, I had the chess piece there. The giving up of the Ron when he was on the knight playing chess, he said that is the essence. He was fulfilling the role of the spiritual crucifixion, and survived, of course, where Harry was carrying on through. But the only thing that can calm Cerberus, and by the way, in the movie, his name was Fluffy. Yeah, just a coincidence. But anyway, yeah, it is. Seriously, somebody reminded me of that, and I think, oh yeah, holy shit, I forgot about that. So, that was not in my mind when I named my own ego Fluffy, right? I got the 3-headed bitch with nice bows in her hair, razor sharp fangs that can take out any ego at any given time and go back to her kennel just like that. Again, it's about mimicking. See, the ego will always react to a mimic. Well, that's what humans do to laws. They're all mimics of natural laws, so I use the same strategy for egos. So if I want to evoke an emotion to show the one individual the contrast of it, I will match it tone for tone without any intent in it. That's all the world's a stage. So it's literally putting the act of the ego on. And it's completely neutral. It's funny as hell to do it because you're right in the middle of it, and you're thinking, "This is fun. This is really funny," and they're buying it. Unbelievable! It's amazing what you can do with an ego. And these are the thoughts going through my head as I'm dancing the ego on the strings because it's so easy. It's so predictable. If you react to anything, that is pure ego, right? Go back to Friday night, centering. And that's where you get that. You get the centering when you get that under control. It's not being afraid of any emotions. It's not being afraid to experience any emotions. It's recognizing what they are and going, yeah, I know what that is. You can sit over there. I'm here. And you don't deny it, because that's a lie. You look at it for what it is. Oh, that's what that is. I remember that. It's not going to. It hasn't. It affected me before. And then I learned how to stop it affecting me, and I'm going to use that. And it's a conscious grip on your emotions where you go neutral real quick. And the fear leaves, and you just kind of go through the flow.
Hey, Kate, is the Philosopher's Stone considered the pineal gland? You were talking about Harry Potter? Like, what's the alchemical...
Well, the Philosopher's Stone can come under a lot of different categories. Urine therapy is the Philosopher's Stone. Philosopher's Stone could be the pineal, phi, la, so, fair, right? So, I mean, fa, ro, which, it proves itself out. Phi, sacred creation, la, sown through the heart in spirit breath. Yeah, so that's your heart too. Your heart's the true Philosopher's Stone.
Right. It's the head. Okay, yeah. Because what it is, what it is too, like it's only been a short time since I've been, and like with you too, you said the past couple of weeks, probably about a week before I got to you. But yeah, see, what I know, and I'm not completely in the zone now, but I guess good enough to that this table, this is the where the Carpenters radio, where the Last Supper, right? So we're going to enjoy this meal, and because everything's fitting together. And the kid that was talking about that darkness he was in, did it smell? When you were in that darkness, you said you could sense death, fear, right? Death or fear? Is he still on the line?
Don't think so. I lost a couple of callers. I think he was one of them.
All right. And you know what? Well, maybe he'll listen to it after. But
that's a good question. Have you, Richie?
And then
Yeah.
What's that?
Our sense of smell in that realm, so to say.
Yeah, because I talked a little bit about it, but anyways, this is the stuff that I think that this we're going to be getting into, and that's why I think you had that dream, Kate. And you said the guy's eyes.
It's gorgeous.
Is what I think. Yeah. But this is the thing is that discovery you made. I just want to go over this real quick, because I'm still on that. I just looked it up like 10 minutes ago. That largest ever yellow star is 1,300 times bigger than the sun, right? So that's Christ consciousness, and it was discovered. Now, because the 12th and the 13th, I'm looking at the dates, and that's when everything started to click a little more. The pieces really started to fit, and I'm seeing 455. I wasn't able to put 4555 together. I could, but I'd have to disconnect one number. This fits perfect right here. I'm looking, and the guy that discovered it was Jacob Aaron at 1332. The 12th of March, 2014. Okay? Now, if you write down 1332, 13, Christ consciousness, 1 plus 3 is 4, 32 is 5, take 2014. What's that?
Consciousness.
Right, but what I'm saying is this is connecting to that 4555 with the Ezekiel's eight-spoked wheel.
Yep.
With, that point of, because you and Janet bringing this to the table, right? When you guys brought this to the table, you know what I'm saying? I knew to look into it. So the date, the time, the date, and the year match friggin' perfect. It's 1332, the 12th of March, 2014. So that's 45.
Okay,
55.
I got it. Let's tie more together here. Let's not just focus. This is what happens. We get focused on one thing. What was the guy's name? What was the guy's name?
Oh, Jacob Aaron.
Say that again.
Jacob. Jacob Aaron.
Okay, what is Jacob?
Right,
Law
Jacob
of God.
Law,
right? What is Aaron? Another name for Ireland? Very good. St. Patrick's Day, we'll tie in there. Yeah. See this?
Oh, see, I didn't know that. See?
So that's the end of the Patrix, right? The Patrix, the Matrix, the Patrix, and we're the new tricks on the block, guys.
And you just keep continuing. You continue on from that star in the 4555. Don't stop.
Don't stop.
Yeah,
on
no, I'm not.
Right.
That's why I want to continue with this, because this is going to blow your mind. Because when you got off the other night, I talked about it a little bit, but I didn't mention the other part of it. Probably because I had to wait for you to discover what you just discovered with the, what was it, the islands you were talking about?
Oak Island.
What is it?
Oak Island.
Oak Island with the treasure, right? Now, listen to this. I'll just jump right to right to it rather.
Okay, now Richie, hang on before I want to make sure people are following what's going on here. What Richie is doing is following the trail. Do not stop with the one thing, because you can get polarized looking at one thing. What Richie's doing now is connecting things that trigger from us and himself, and this is how we do it. You'll see everyone starting to connect, and all of these little aha moments of how we are connecting as one. So carry on, Richie. We got about another 6-7 minutes here, so we're good.
Okay, awesome. All right. It says the two stars orbit each other,
like a peanut,
forming a binary system. However, though their centuries are separated by more than the distance between our sun and Saturn, I call it hourglass A, is so large that the two are touching, forming a continuous peanut-shaped structure.
Yeah, and binary, what were we just talking about earlier? We have the Christ consciousness, 13 of the B, in RE.
Yeah, RE.
So the Christ consciousness of self that is mine in RE. So that's, and there it is, the peanut.
Yeah.
And isn't the peanut shape the infinity?
Right, and the peanut shape. Yeah, and well, also, Kate, and then I'll jump off you. Is you're talking about the Taurus field? The Taurus field.
Yep.
Being the throat, isn't it the Gemini's?
Gemini's lung and arms. Taurus is the throat and mouth.
Okay. Taurus is the throat and mouth. Okay.
Look at Pleiades. Look at Pleiades.
Yep.
You have Stellarium. Look at Pleiades and scan it out a little bit. And you'll see the shape of the human skull. You'll also see the seven sisters in there, and also look where Atlas is, the star called Atlas, and it's right at the throat. And Atlas holds up the world, the head. Okay, these are fractals that play out everywhere, and I'm trying to show people how to see all of these fractals within fractals, and then you see creation, and it just blows your mind. So anyway, back to the Taurus field.
Yeah. So
nature, baby.
So it's dubbed hourglass A. The star is located in the constellation in Taurus. So the only reason why that they were able to locate this and date it at that time, I know, is because of what we're doing here at the state. Our Taurus field, our voice, our intention, our connections is what's causing these things to be seen and recognizing.
They were always there, Richie. We're becoming aware of it. This is when you know you're in the magic field, because everything, all of these aha moments are just moments of awareness. They're not. You're not learning something new. You're remembering. You're becoming aware of what you know already. You came in here in a state of all knowing to all unknowing, and the game is to get out of that all unknowing by playing this game. That's simple.
Well, this is what I'm guessing at. Well, not so much guessing, but just putting these pieces together. Because, like I said, Kate, I'm probably only speaking about 10% of the 100% of the shit that I've been putting down. That's why I'm thinking of maybe at some point, right? And this is the confusing part. Is the stuff you're discovering, and we might not see it, but then a day, 2 days, or 3 days, and other people as well is
your spirit's here
connecting this. Yeah, because I'd have to do a video, really. I can't talk about the stuff that I've discovered over the line, just the little bits, that we've been doing, because it would just take too long, And but just that connection that's being made, because creation, right? That's the thing. This is the confusing part between the past, present, and future, like that kid was talking about, is having those fractal selves, or like we're speaking with each other. So if there's other people that are connected with past selves or whatever, that information is being filtered and given to them. So it's kind of like what we're reading now. Like you see a book.
Richie, here's the thing about I won't even talk about past lives because they're not. They are coexisting, coinciding lives at the same time right now in a different timeline. We're just aware of this point of now. This point of consciousness that you're in is your awareness. And everything else, past lives, future lives, everything is right now. We're experiencing this timeline in this conscious reality. And it totally eliminates the whole concept of time being needed. It's friggin' hilarious.
Yeah. Well, the way I see it is I'm stuck between two mirrors, right? And that reflection, that the information that's being triggered and bounced is that, like, one day to me, right, or anyone, it could be 1,000 years of existence to another. You know what I'm saying? Right. So our idea and concept of time is
you use the word
relevant.
stuck.
Like Einstein said, that it's relative. Relativity.
Oh, and by the way, before we get off,
the word stuck.
I use the word stuck.
Yeah, you said you're stuck between the mirrors.
Yeah. Well, I exist between them. Or I could be in them.
Okay. Before we go here, I just wanted to share one further little confirmation. I have a pin that was given to me about 2 months ago, and it's a lady's head, and she has an elephant as a headdress with the trunk coming. I was thinking about that today when it dawned on me when I saw the Oak Island thing yesterday, and it clicked. Oh, that pin! It's the lady's head with the elephant. Oh, this is so cool! And you just start seeing all of these crazy little things just show up and whatever. But we got about a minute left, guys. So any wrap up thoughts?
Yeah. Well, you know what, Kate? I'm going to watch that movie, and I started watching Robert. What's his name?
Morning
Sky.
Morning Sky.
Yeah.
Now, guys, remember, do not watch it literally. Watch it energetically, allegorically. Okay? Because Robert's telling the same story that all of us have been telling. Entirely the same story in an entirely different way, but it is exactly the same story. Tie together your connecting clues. Don't get caught in the drama of the literal. This is a hell of a game we got going here, guys. Let's play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think anything's literal. I think everything's a friggin' illusion.
Amazing.
So.
No, it's beautiful. No. It's the magic.
Guys, I got a last little quote. It is when the occult initiate observes to what helpless conditions the practice of medicine has fallen, that he would, if he could, with any possibility of success, implore the angelic guardian of the human race to open the spiritual side of man, that they might see, as he sees, the divine relationship and spiritual correspondences of everything in the wide universe to man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, too, that... So you were there on the other line. You're the guy I was talking about. That doctor.
No, it's another one.
Yeah.
Is
it Manny?
Ryan.
See, what I can say, I talked with Kate. Yeah, I talked with Kate a little bit, but this alchemical process that you're tapping into, Kate. See, that's why you're able to illustrate it and really nail it and get it together. Because where you're at, I can see that. You know, and I think by you doing that is the alchemy and equivalent exchange of that will help me and others as well process and get this stuff straight. But the first person that comes through and starts talking about these 5 rays of light that I've literally seen, then we're going to start talking.
Yeah, there you go. You know, and the only thing I'll ever claim, guys, before we roll out of here is I'm just a stubborn Irish bitch, and I'm not stopping until I get home.
Yeah, well, that's why you're determined. That seeking is what's going to do it. Yeah.
Oh, we're going home, guys. We're going home. Row your boats.
I have a beautiful elephant story, and I'll share that next time.
Actually, share it now. Share it now since it's part of the elephant night. So share it now.
Oh, goodness. Okay. About elephants always remember, and I always feel like they remember from their heart center. And I was it was called the San Diego Wild Animal Kingdom, and they had for zoos at the time, It was just incredible. The elephants were just, roaming free. When you went through there, you felt like you were in Kilimanjaro. It was just so beautiful. But at the time, this was in the 80s, like late 80s, early 90s, you could ride on the elephant. Of course, you had to pay. And my twin sister and I were there, and she didn't want to ride, so I really wanted to. So I got up on this elephant, and this elephant trainer took me around, and I was just, the thrill of a lifetime. And fast forward 17 years later, I'm at the same place with my daughter, who is 8 years old at the time. No, I was homeschooling her, so we were having a zoo day when I used to go to the zoo. And so we were at the zoo and during the week, and no one was there. And we just were going by where they kept the elephants, and the trainer came up over the steps and through the gate, and we were looking at the elephants, and we talked to him for a minute, and he said, well, come on down, I'll take you down to the elephants. And we said, really? So he took my daughter and I down into the area where the elephants were, that only the trainers could go in. And as I walked up toward the elephants, all three of them, they came over to the fence. And so they were making all these noises, and so I went over, and I wasn't afraid at all. It was almost like something within me just walked me over to the elephant. And the one elephant in the middle wrapped its trunk around me, lifted me up off the ground, just like about 2 inches where my heels were up, and pulled my pants all up. And my daughter's, squealing, and she's taking pictures. She's taking pictures. And
wow.
The elephant trainer is, like, wow, they're really excited. And the other 2 elephants put their trunks all around my heart center. I wasn't afraid at all. I was just like in unbelievable bliss, no words for it. Then afterwards I talked to the trainer. That was the elephant that I rode on 17 years before, and he was the trainer. It was the trainer said, "Oh my God, he remembers you." That's how he acted. That he
If ever there was a doubt in anyone's mind as to the purity of your heart, Colleen, that one just totaled it right there. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I can just
without a doubt.
Right. Whew. Thank you for
I love you, Colleen.
Thank you, guys.
I love you all.
I just want to let people let that sink in for a little bit. But see, we needed to finish on that story tonight because an elephant never forgets. The elephant, that's the heart of the yang yin within you and the mind. That's the true mind. Get these words neutralized, get the polarities out of them, kill them dead, get them center points. Now you have pure intention, and it's coming straight from magnetic mama, and watch your world shift. Benevolence, push. Let's go, let's get her done. And we'll pick this up, tomorrow's Tuesday, right? Yeah, it's 2 for Tuesday, so 1 to 3 p.m. tomorrow, or actually be 2 to 4. Yeah, so I had another double stint, so I'll see what I can do about getting something written up for tomorrow night. But I got to tell you guys, stay the course. You got the game. Let's play.
Thank you, Colleen.
Much love
all right,
to you
good night, guys.
Good night, much
good night.
love. And we'll see you
Much
all
love.
tomorrow. Take care.
Namaste.
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 You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Of that movie. And it doesn't matter what goes on through the movie because you know what the ending is, and that's where I am. And that's where we all need to be because that's exactly what it is, and it's really cool. And this is getting exposed. The cosmic joke is getting exposed hardcore in the phonics and the literals. A lot of things I want to share tonight. Like I said, I was watching a bit of Michael Tazarian, basically the Irish origins of civilization, and where Ireland is part of the former Lemuria, and which known that for a long time as far as the Atlantic aspect. And you've heard me reference Ireland as being the heart of Earth. It's got the 4 chambers, and the one chamber, the divine feminine positive Ulster, that's the intent upon intent of the divine feminine, has had a lot of stuff going on with regards to the, well, you know all about the, quote, troubles, unquote, in Ireland, basically starting very long time ago, but let's just say it really got heavy in the late 60s and 70s, where it was made out to be Protestants versus Catholics, which it wasn't. It was just simply, the papal and the crown playing their normal game. Most people, especially in Ireland, don't realize that it was a pope that funded King William III, Prince of Orange, at the Battle of the Boyne, fighting King James, the Catholic king. The Pope was funding the other guy. Okay, so again, it's not about spirituality with these people. It's all about control, domination, and hierarchy. And that's a very degraded level of being, a very degraded level of soul, if you even call it soul. But the bottom line is very simply this. Everything that you have attached to the system is a thread that a vampire can come and bite your neck and drain you. These are all spiritual contracts that we are dealing with here. It's not a piece of paper, okay, guys? Not one piece of paper was looked at on Friday night, because I don't need paper. I know who I am. And I know the power of the fox. I know that when you neutralize a word, what you're getting now is pure magnetic source intent of what you mean it to mean, not what some other definition has degraded a word into its polarized positive or negative. And this is why I tell you, just take a word and break it up phonetically to see how you could reverse it. Simple one, as I've said many times, a simple one is refuse. Well, refuse means I don't want that. It also means to put another circuit into an electrical panel to refuse it. Okay, so one of it's saying I don't want anything to do with it, and the other one's saying I want everything to do with it. It's connecting it. Okay, that's why it's a catch-22. This is the world of catch-22, or the Ka-Ti-Ki, which is the spirit of the law of truth. Ki is 22, and that's where the quad comes in. It's a double cross, and you have to see both sides of this coin stand on the rim. And most people are playing with the tail or playing with the head. So to the degree that you have a connection to the system is an open invitation to a vampire of whatever level you're at to come and feed on you spiritually. And I've experienced that on the spiritual level. This going back 3 years ago or more. Over 3 years ago. And it's a very real thing. This is not hocus pocus, because it is hocus pocus. This whole reality, everyone's walking around thinking it's Kansas, but I know it's Oz. Right? Once you get past the Emerald City and you get enough truth, you start seeing Oz and its glitter and Tinkerbell and all the rest of it. And the more you see of the real reality, the more insane this place gets. Like, I don't know about you, but even the notion of building something like a nuclear bomb to wipe out hundreds of thousands of people is nothing less than pure insanity. Psychopathy of the lowest order. So stop and think about that. So, when people are playing in the system, working for munitions factories and what have you, and anything that involves killing another or destroying another, well, that's a very depraved level. And don't tell me it's because, well, I need to feed my family. Well, then you don't have the faith in you. And that's okay, don't worry, because you'll go through Groundhog Day up to the point where you'll hear this, and it'll be another deja vu moment from Kate saying, oh yeah, she told me I shouldn't be doing that. And you'll come back and you'll be at this point again. And chances are some of you are hearing this for the second or third time or even more right now. Some of you might be experiencing a deja vu moment, having already been through that timeline and come back. Because everything merges in the now. There is only now. And the one that you are aware of is the now. This is now. This is where all consciousness merges. You are an immortal being that has been duped out of it by thinking you're not. And I'm here to kind of correct that. Well, I've corrected it for me, and hopefully I can share enough information, enough clues that you'll see it for yourself. Because, you see, here's the thing. All I can offer is a fishing rod. I do not offer any fish. That would be a trespass on your free will experience to make it yours. You see, that's the difference. If you earn it, you learn it. And if it's just given to you, then that's a taken for granted. And while that might sound a little harsh, it's pure truth. Anything worth having is worth working for, where you have that self-contained notion that I did this, I found this, and you're finding the same things that we all are. That's the joy of this, because now what we can do at the table is turn around and confirm all of these things that we have been finding. And that's why this table resonates so highly, because there are people that are out there, you guys that are at this table every night are out there, and you're seeing this and you're experiencing this. You're getting your DNA building aha moments. And that bridge is getting longer and longer, and you're going further and further across the abyss, across the chasm of illusion, where it does start to get rather funny. It actually gets quite hilarious. But I will tell you, going back to the Friday night, if there is anyone that's still playing in the legal nonsense crap, has any doubt, they need to listen to that. And I think I've been on the air long enough and shared enough about my experience that you will understand how profound Friday was in the grand scheme of consciousness. That was a complete shutdown. That was a major layer peeled off, because for the first time I was able to stay in my space, know exactly who I am. I don't take orders from anybody, and I'm certainly not going to give any. I wish no harm to anyone. And I know that I don't need a piece of paper, and I know I don't need to get into conflicts. That's an ego game. Don't play that one. And so on and so on. I'm not sure if all of you out there are firewalkers. I know that I'm not. Once burned, go back. And, these are revelations that are unfolding in rapid fashion. And what occurred on Friday night, again, this is in retrospect. I was there. I had you can hear it. I have the visual to go along with it, and of course the energies that were interplaying with me at that point. And it is really that simple. And it's a standard rule. If you look at your folklore, a standard rule with vampires: a vampire cannot come into your home unless it is invited. Now, the vampire I speak of comes in many heads of the Hydra. It can be it will be in the form of things like licenses, bank statements, addresses, names, library cards, anything to do with the system at all. Those are all spiritual contracts that you are bound to spiritually until you break them. That is a fact. Now, the hard part that I know people will have is separating themselves, because this is the problem with Pisces. Pisces is all about believing, and until you actually start walking this, and really, walking this, you're not going to believe it. And even when it's working constantly, you still have a little trouble, you know. You do. And these are the leaps of faith are great, but it's taking that next step that is the real power that's going to cement it for you. That's the creation mind, meant, you know, or the spirit creation of the magnetic electric ent, or the infinite law of truth, right? So it takes a little practice, you know. I assure you. What I'm talking about here is the highest form of garlic, spiritual garlic you will ever have. Because the more you disarm yourself physically, you know, doing paperwork shit and all the rest, but just get the information out. I've been saying that for a while. Just the information to others. It's about educating our fellow humanity that has been just as duped as we have been. We just happen to get a little pissed off a little sooner and start becoming a little sooner. That's the only difference. There are no caste systems here. There is no greater or lesser than here. There is just different levels of awareness, of contrast, and that's all it is. All in this universe are the same, all equal, all the one, just different variations of the one. That's all it is. And the more separate you make yourself from anyone else, is literally a separation from the allness. And don't expect a whole lot if you're going to keep doing that. You know, it does. It's a little bit of practice to get used to it. And that's why for a long time there I was saying, if you're unsure of things, then, well, start getting used to the idea of not having it, because you need ID. You know, if somebody can't see you when they're talking to you, there are institutions for people like that, right? What the hell does somebody need a piece of paper to say who they are for? What the hell does somebody need a photograph to prove it's them? So you have to look a little deeper to see maybe there's something a little more sinister going on here, given the fact that everyone has been so programmed into a dead meat programmed mentality, where you look at something like Hogwarts, you know, Harry Potter, and think that that's just all fairy tales. No, that's truth. That's what you're all capable of, and infinitely more.
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box. Yours truly, Kate of Gaia, broadcasting from an undisclosed location somewhere on planet Earth. There we go. Happy St. Patrick's Day for all you pharaohs out there, either of the island or of the mind, the spiritual mind. Yes, I was catching up a little bit on... I've been doing a lot of backtracking and research obviously with Robert Morningsky. I'm looking at Mike Tessarian's work as well, and it's listening a whole lot differently these days, and dots are connecting all over the place. But there's a few things I wanted to go through. It's interesting that, you know, of course we have St. Patrick's Saint, meaning without in French. Patrix, or the hexed row, tricks. So yeah, it's just a coincidence, right? And of course, today was a celebration of his death, as a matter of fact, which was in 461 AD, which of course totals 11, which is the death of duality. Cool, huh? Anyway, yeah, just to let you know how I define my reality, and I look for things in terms of what is happening now, because there is only now, and all the timelines coincide here. I want to touch on probably the most important concept that may hopefully drive this stake home and get it right through the heart of you, as far as what it means to be in or out of the system. And it is this simple. I could make it difficult, depending on the level of attachments and agreements you may or may not have with the dead crone system of this world of Babylon, will determine how much you are attracting the energies into your realm. As many of you are aware, I got the opportunity to shut it down once and for all on Friday night, And you can hear it live on the air. The recording's there from Blog Talk Radio. You can get it at criticalmassradio.co.uk. And just download the episode, and it unfolded live on the air. For anyone that has any questions as far as should you or should you not play with vampires. And I'm going to speak allegorically. This is a completely neutral observation. I don't want people thinking good guy, bad guy, because that's just a polarized position. What you can look at least what I look at, is the contrast of what I would do and what I would not do. And that's your truth. That's what's true with you. That's when you take upon yourself your own self-given rights. Right? R-I-T-E. And not to be confused with the man-made nonsense that you hear people screaming about, I know my rights. No, you don't. You haven't got a clue as to how to cast a spell. You don't understand phonics. You're still trapped in a system. And a simple little thing to keep in mind, these are very simple things. If there is anything that resembles a system of any kind whatsoever in the physical universe, be it a power system, electricity, be it a money system, be it anything that resembles what is already in existence, is spiritual debt. And it's like jumping out of the frying pan into the fire, and out of the fire into another pot, and out of the pot onto another boiler pan, and it's being displayed for you on the Psi Elver screen, the silver screen, the screen of truth. Psi, spirit of intent through truth, Psi Elver. And it's like this. Imagine you deciding to have a party, and you just put a sign out front. This is basically your ID is saying, okay? And you're the one that gets to accommodate that party, right? You're putting a sign out front, party, free booze, free this, free that, all welcome. And before you know it, you've got 200 people inside a house that could maybe hold 50, okay? And then you're looking around and you're wondering why your lamp's all smashed, your toilet bowl's broken, windows are smashed out, furniture's all burned and ripped and stripped, and just pure chaos after everyone leaves. And then, of course, what are you going to get? Well, you're going to get mad, but who should you get mad at? I mean, you put the sign out. You said, come on, everybody, free this, free that, come on in. I just want to have a good time and party. And holy shit, you wrecked my place. Well, that's what the system is. Identification is that sign on your front lawn saying, come on in, rape me, do me. I'm a slave, come on, just do whatever you want. And this plays out in all forms of legal. I've covered enough of this stuff over the years in great detail. As far as accommodating party, UCC codes, and all the rest of it, I've been through it all. And for me, they were all simply allegorical mirrors of man-made law mimicking divine law, which, when you agree to it, it contains some of that power, if not all of it. So you might want to change your sign out front. Those wishing to come into my jurisdiction, please knock. And then you open the little peephole, and someone you don't want there that you know has already wrecked your place once, you go, no, I remember you, bye. And that is essentially what you're doing. And when you take off the paper mache, you put on spiritual truth armor, and it is impenetrable. Nothing gets through it. And that's a tough one for people to really sink their teeth into. And I had the most contrasted perspective of that on Friday night. No ID, no VINs, nothing, expired plates. All I'm saying with that is, one, I don't want to arouse the what's going on with the general public, which interferes with the dogs chasing their victims game. It's not my concern. I stay the course. People have to wake up on their own. They have to do their own due diligence, and they're going to have to get to the same point we all did about getting pissed off enough to say, I've had enough of this, right? What else? Potentially a fairly high-profile individual in what we would deem to be a truth movement. Yeah, I'd say I've got a little notoriety on that. Track record of a lot of things dealing with the system. Judge with the Sovereign video comes to mind. A bunch of other stuff too. And the amount of time and work that I put into at the very beginning, helping people out with things, thinking, and we were peeling layers off the system is what we were doing. So there was not one mistake made. It was all perfect. Everything is perfect. And I learned. It took me a while, but I learned to accept that. And I thought, this is going to be like watching a movie backwards. I already know the happy ending. If you start a movie at the end and see the whoa riding off into the sunset, it's all perfect with the lead character. You can go right back to the beginning